Hey guys, it's your Naked Vault Dweller, and in this video we're going to go over technically it's not 8 locations, it's really like 5 locations, but we're going to go over 8 total locations for the chainsaw. And of course there's always a possibility that Bethesda will add additional locations for the chainsaw, but as of right now, these are the locations for the chainsaws in Appalachia today. And I bet you're already wondering why I'm even bringing up chainsaws. Well, chainsaws are about to change. You're about to be able to add legendary effects to it, and Bethesda's changed the perk cards around so that they do the applied perk card strengths that they're supposed to for melee attacks. And does that mean that the chainsaw is going to be the end all be all melee weapon for everybody? I can pretty much tell you it's not going to be, but gosh, they are so much fun. Running around in a post-apocalyptic nightmare, slashing up ghouls, seems like my cup of tea if I drink tea. Okay, so what's the importance of collecting more than one chainsaw? Well, if you deconstruct that chainsaw, there's a potential that you can learn a couple other mods that they have out there. There's other loose mods that you can buy from bot vendors, but some of them you can actually learn, so this is the way to do it. And I gathered a lot of my research material from Famdom and the Fallout Wiki. I'm going to put links down in the description of this video, just referencing back to those guys. Really appreciate what they do in our community. And like I said before, there's 5 locations that the chainsaw is supposed to spawn in. There's 3 of those locations that it doesn't spawn. I'll cover those last. Since technically the chainsaw is not rare, every time you go to these locations, it should be available to you unless you've picked it up recently. I'll show you all the locations of where you can pick it up at, and you can use your own discretion of how you want to pick them up. Our first place is going to be the Crimson Prospect. When you get to this location, it's chock full of blood eagles. You know, if you want to get rid of those guys, that's fine, or you can run to the west side where there's going to be a bus. At this bus, there's a shelf right next to the door. At the base of the door, you won't see it here because mine's on the ground, but at the base of the door, it does spawn on the bottom half of the shelf. Next, we're going to look at the Ranger District Office. In the very back, there's going to be a barn or some kind of metal building. You're going to work your way back there, dealing with any kind of scorch that gets in your way. And inside this building, you have some cages, and you'll find that the chainsaw is lying there on the ground. Our next location is the Pleasant Valley Cabins. We'll actually start at this location, and we're going to head due west over to this mountain range. You'll see my map marker here. It's kind of a haul. You're going to, fall down some cliffs and other stuff, run through some trees. I'm just taking up air until we get to our location, which is really far away. There, let's just skip to that point right now. And when we finally get to the map marker location, underneath this tree, the chainsaw is going to be. Why am I rhyming stuff today? The next location is probably going to be one of the easier locations to get the chainsaw. You're going to go to the metal dome there in the Savage Divide. When you get there, you're going to go down and into the arena area, go right past everything and come back up on the other side of the arena. When you get to the top there, just turn to your right and there's a trailer. When you look inside that trailer, just there on the ground, you're going to find our chainsaw. The last place you're going to want to look is Mountainside Bed and Breakfast, which happens to be one of my favorite spots to visit. When you get to Mountainside Bed and Breakfast, just head on in and there's going to be a staircase. You're going to go to the lower half of the house. When you reach the lower half of the house, not that you have to go very far, there's going to be a door that's going to be inaccessible. You can't get through that door under normal circumstances, but there are ways to get through that door. And one of the ways, if you haven't already done the cannibal quest at this location, is to go upstairs and talk to the lady. I don't remember her name, but when you talk to her, she'll ask you if you want a room for 5 caps. You give her 5 caps. She'll tell you to go upstairs and go to sleep. When you sleep in the bed, something magical happens and that door will open. I don't want to ruin it completely for you guys, but it's actually kind of cute. I think you should give it a shot. And bear in mind that once you complete that quest, it won't open again for you. So this is like a one-shot deal. Okay, so there's 3 locations that do not spawn chainsaws, at least at the moment. Clarksburg, at their hardware store on the upper mezzanine above the safe on a shelf, a chainsaw is supposed to spawn. Now, I've server hopped this location a ton of times. I've had other people server hop in this location. We've never successfully been able to get a spawn off of it. Now, will that ever change? Who knows? But at least I've listed it here. Poseidon Energy Plant WV06 is also supposed to have a chainsaw spawn as well, but does not. And I think it was Wastelanders that probably messed up this spawn. When you go into the south expansion of Poseidon, you'll go into Lev's hideout, and in Lev's hideout, you kind of snake your way around till you get to the top. Not the very top of Lev's hideout, but there's a little side area there where there's a portable grill. It's supposed to spawn there, but doesn't. And again, will this ever change? That is only for Bethesda to know. And the last place that it's supposed to spawn but doesn't spawn is going to be WV Lumber Company, way on the outskirts of the forest. When you go into the interior of WV Lumber Company, on the bottom half of that, there's a fusion generator, and somewhere on one of the tables around the fusion generator, the chainsaw is supposed to spawn. But I think Wastelanders might have messed this one up too, because it does not spawn at this location. I've hopped it tons of times. I just don't want you to waste your time doing it. Okay, so you just picked up a pile of chainsaws. What are you going to do with them now? Well, my suggestion would be is to deconstruct them so you can learn the mods if you don't already know their mods. And at least by the making of this video, you're not going to be able to learn all the mods by deconstructing. You're only going to be able to pick up 2 of them, which is going to be the dual bar and the bow bar. The dual bar will do superior damage, which is technically twice as much damage whenever they do get the perk cards fixed. And if you like armor piercing, then the bow bar is the way to go. You can also pay a visit to the bot vendor down in Watoga, where you can purchase the loose mod to add to it if you'd like to add the long bow bar. This mod adds bleed damage to your attacks, or you can add the flamer bar, which adds fire damage to your attacks. Now, I've played with the chainsaw on the public test server, and I'm really pleased with the damage output it does. In messing around with my perk cards, I was able to really manipulate what kind of damage I was doing. Overall, I'm just really happy with the chainsaw now that they were able to, use the perks correctly with them. And I think the biggest complaint that I have with using the chainsaw is the fact that it uses so much AP. Whenever I use the shredder mod on the 5mm, it doesn't use any AP at all, and it does a really good job at doing what it does, which is shred stuff. Now, does the chainsaw do more damage than the shredder mod on the 5mm minigun? I would say no, but it's not nearly as fun. I have so much fun playing with the chainsaw. And like I said, we probably haven't scratched the surface on the amount of damage we could really do with the chainsaw. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about it, and I'd really be interested to see what kind of perk loadout you use with it. Anyway, if this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to the Naked Vault Dweller YouTube channel, then hit subscribe. We'd love to have you part of our community. And with all that being said, run out and grab yourself a chainsaw before everybody else grabs chainsaws and they become scarce. Look forward to seeing you guys in Appalachia. Love you, bye. Becoming a Blood Eagle was one of the best things I ever did. Before we forget, just want to send out a special thanks for all these great people that helped make this video come together. I figured you'd probably say something about me smoking so close to this explosive canister. Don't worry, it's totally